Hi everyone, Dr. Paul Brumett with Hero Braces. Today I'd like to talk to you about our use of a hook blade knife to cut off a cast. When I teach classes, a lot of times I'll get questions afterwards about technique. We talk about technique during the class as well. But I wanted to give you a few tips today on how to use these blades, how to be successful with them. And so here's one example of a hook blade knife. Here's another that you may get in your casting kit that's red. And then we also have one that is gray. These just, they change colors just depending on availability. They all function pretty much the same. They all have a screw in them. You can see that here. Generally, it's a Phillips head screw, and you can take that screw and remove it. And when you remove it, it allows you to take that blade apart. And inside, you'll see that there's a double-sided blade. And so if you break the tip off that blade, you can take it apart, flip that blade over, and keep going. So sometimes that'll happen when we're cutting, that little tip of the blade will break off. So good thing to know. When I hold these blades, I always hold them down close to the blade. So we'll extend the blade on this one. They all have some type of locking mechanism. This blue one, you push the lever forward, and then it has a little stop on the back you pull back, and that keeps it locked in place. If you look at this red one, the red one you push down on the button, push it all the way forward, and then it's spring-loaded and it locks into a notch. And I always fully extend them. I find that works the best. Once I'm done with it, I always close it up and set it off to the side so it's not dangerous anymore to anyone. When you look at these, you'll notice that there is a cutting surface here where the cutout is, and then this flat surface is actually a non-cutting surface, and so that's our guard, and that's why we call it a hook blade knife. And we'll use that by placing it in the cutting strip. So here's our cutting strip. You can see how that cutting strip has a trough in it. And we're going to take that hook blade knife and we incorporate, we'll show you this in a second, we incorporate the cutting strip under the casting material, and that allows us to put the hook blade knife into the center of the groove and then draw down the casting material, and it protects our patient underneath, but it also gives us the line to cut along. So let me show you that. One of the things that I recommend to folks is that they try using their blade to cut something before they actually cut the cast. And so a piece of cardboard is really good. You can take a cardboard box and, oops, sorry about that. You can see where I've made a couple of cuts down this cardboard box just to get a feel for how the blade cuts and where it cuts. What I find typically with these blades is the best cutting surface is right here inside that arc. And I'll show that to you on this cast. So quick review on casting. We've got our stockinette wrapped around our leg. We have a fake leg. We're using a shipping tube here to represent a leg. So our casting stockinette over top of the tube. We've cut a little hole to help us hold the cutting strip in place. The cutting strip actually runs on the outside of the casting stockinette, or stockinette we'll call it sometimes. You can see that it's on the outside there. And then we start wrapping our tape up. We do a 50% overlap all the way going up. And then you can see here, when we got to the top, we came back down and we did kind of a candy cane. So we can do one there. You can see it coming down at an angle. So that gives us 2 layers, and which is what we want. It allows enough rigidity in the casting material to hold its shape, and so that we can see all the bony prominences. But it's not so thick that we have to use a lot of special tools to cut it off. So let's use one of our blades here, and let's show you how we cut the cast off of a leg. So first thing I want to show you is blade placement. And what I find is if I, and oh, by the way, sometimes folks will take their scissors and they'll cut a little slot here to get them started. And you can certainly do that if you want to. If you were to wrap your casting material all the way up to this edge where the cutting strip goes through the stockinette, then you'll need to open that up because it's that extra thickness of stockinette makes it harder to cut. But so here we have our blade. I'm going to hold it close to the blade because that gives me the most control. I go right into the groove. And then I want you to notice the bottom here. I'm showing you with my thumb. I like to have it parallel to the cast. If I have it parallel to the cast, it seems to cut much better for me. And I'll give you a demonstration of that. So we just get started. When you get to the thicker part, it'll take a little bit more pressure. But there you can see we're just cutting along. And it doesn't take a tremendous amount of force. If I get stuck in a spot, then I'll rock it back and forth. And you can see it cut there as I rock it back and forth. And then again, notice that we're inside the cutting strip. Here you can see I've gotten off to the side a little bit, but I'm still in there. So that's the important thing to know right there, is to keep that in. So you can take a look and spot that and then readjust if you need to. And then when we get down to this thicker part at the end, which always happens to folks, you can rock this back and forth and use it like a can opener. And then remember that you're almost to the end, so you just slow down a little bit. And notice that this is not attached to anything. And there we're going to finish it off. So we've made our cut. We've made our cut down the center of that strip. And then we just come back and in our case, we're going to cut that stockinette off. And then we just take the strip and we start to pull. And it'll come right out of there. So we've freed that up. And then what you'll do is you'll come back and you'll take your scissors. We cut that stockinette down the center, open everything up, it slides right off the leg, and then we're going to hold those edges together and allow for it to finish setting up, and then you can box it up and send it to us. If you have any questions, let me know. Let us know at goherogo.com. Have a great day.